Troy Melton has this spectacular outing. He was lights out, vicious type of outing. Perfect through 5 innings, gets through another out in the 6th, ends up giving up a solo shot. No big deal. You only give up 1 run the entire day, 5 Ks, no walks. Tigers won the game, right, Kyle? They had to have. That was such a good outing.
They had to have.
But they didn't, because their offense was non-existent until the 9th inning, until Dylan Dingler hit his 19th home run of the year. It was a solo shot, and the Tigers lose 1-2. It's one of those games. It's just like it's crushing to anyone who still has any sort of hope to this team, because, again, you look at the games back. Oh, they're only 5 games back. Yeah, but there's 7 teams ahead of them in the standings. There's 4 teams tied for that final wild card spot. And then there's 2 other teams. So I guess there's 6 teams ahead of them in the standings. They're not passing all those teams. If they're 5 games back, that would require 6 teams to just have a collapse. That's not going to happen. There's a false sense of security in those standings, unfortunately, because you have to start beating those teams ahead of you. And if they lose tonight, the very best they can do the rest of this season with Houston is tie the season series. And eventually you got to start blowing the doors off of these teams that are in front of you and winning the season series against them, because odds are tiebreakers are going to matter with how close this wild card race is. They can't win a series against any of these teams. So I don't know why I'm supposed to believe that they can continue to claw their way back into it if they can't beat the teams ahead of them in the standings, and they don't have the tiebreaker over any of these teams, and they cannot win on the road. Yesterday was one of those losses. I know I've said this a couple times throughout the course of the year, but yesterday was one of those gut-wrenching, unforgivable losses to where it's just a nice reminder of, yeah, man, we're not going anywhere. 2 straight losses, got to stop the bleeding. Nope, not able to do it. You score 1 single run, and now you've lost 3 straight. All the momentum that you built up at the beginning of June, the work that you made to cut into the division deficit and the wild card deficit, all of that's gone now, man. You lost 3 in a row. And you know what this team's going to do? They're going to bounce back. They're going to win 3 straight somehow. They always do. I'm out. I'm done with this Tigers team, Kyle. I don't believe in them anymore.
Yeah, I haven't believed in them for a while. And I hope that this now allows all Tigers fans to shift their perspective to this as well. I understand it's not fun to root for a team that, one, you don't want to root for them to lose, but 2, you don't want to just root against a team that it might have a chance to get back into this or whatever. And it's the final year probably of Tarik Skubal, so you want to enjoy it as much as you can. How can you enjoy it after games like last night? You know, like games like last night, it went from this potential incredible feeling to the second the solo home run was given up. I think I texted you in our Tigers chat. I was like, they're going to lose this game, aren't they?
Oh, for sure.
I went from being like, Troy Melton is killing right now. And like, shout out to Tatsuo Amai of Houston as well, because he was dominant in the same exact way, but he didn't pitch the whole game either. You know, like they could have got to the Houston relievers a little bit earlier. And you went from feeling like, wow, Troy Melton, man, what an awesome start this has been to his 2026. It makes you feel better, yes, about the Tarik Skubal trade, but this game in general, like, I can't believe that he has been on this pace ever since coming back from the injured list to start the season. The second he gives up the solo home run, I'm going from thinking this guy might throw a perfect game to, oh, they're just going to lose the game? And then they did.
Yeah, it's been a very disappointing stretch here for the Tigers. I will say, too, to your point about Troy Melton's outing in general, he leads the team in ERA and WHIP now. It does make me feel very comfortable, at least more comfortable, a sense of security in justifying trading for Tarik Skubal. Not that there wasn't a justification in that anyway with the way that this Tiger season has went, but the fact that you kind of have an ace in waiting in Troy Melton, someone who has that sort of potential, I think the most impressive advanced stat with him is the fact that nobody's really hard hit him this year. He's got one of the best hard hit rates for a pitcher in baseball. Doesn't really walk anybody either. So there is a little bit of a sense that maybe this guy, as soon as the end of this year, can look some sort of like an ace. Nobody's going to be Tarik Skubal, but there's a lot of upside in what Troy Melton has brought to the table already in his career. Even last year when he was coming out of the pen, now he's as a full-fledged starter, just dominant. So I do feel pretty comfortable trading Tarik Skubal and trying to get 4 or 5 players back in return. 5 might be aggressive, but
yeah,
bats that can contribute to the lineup in another arm to supplement losing Skubal because you have a guy like Troy Melton who you could potentially count on next year to be your ace. And maybe Jackson Jobe, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, 100%. The Jobe piece is important because I will once again advise Tigers fans to use the current situation and spin it positively. You can do that because think about what the pitching future of this team could look like at this point. Troy Melton, Jackson Jobe going forward. Like that in itself has got me pretty excited. Two pretty awesome young right-handed arms. Melton has exceeded expectations to a point where,
for sure,
we have continued to say, you and I were 1A and 1B, the founders of the Troy Melton fan club. I don't even know if I thought he was going to be, like, legit the best pitcher on the team right now.
Yeah. It's
just right now. That's hyperbolic, sure. Tarik Skubal's on the team. I get it.
Even throughout the course of the season, now that like nobody has fully stayed healthy other than Fromber,
Yes.
I still think it's Melton.
From his first start of the season to now, he has just been the best pitcher on the team. That in itself is pretty crazy. Jackson Jobe, I thought, showed really important flashes before his injury last year, and the fact that he was the highest pitching prospect in baseball for a good amount of time, I still feel very confident that he's going to be a really good pitcher in this league. And so you have that, plus whatever you're going to get in the Tarik Skubal trade, assuming at least one of those guys is a solid pitcher, which from every single mock trade I've seen of Tarik Skubal involves that. So you have those three guys, plus a Reese Olson, plus, hey, maybe you do decide to bring back Casey Mize. By the way, Fromber Valdez is still on the team. Like, This doesn't need to be this massive retool rebuild that takes 5 years like the last one did.
But
this doesn't have to be that.
But it will if you don't capitalize. And I don't mean trade or not trade. I mean get the right return package. Because when you did this in 2017 with Justin Verlander, you failed at it so miserably that it did require a full rebuild, a full reset, a full retool that took a whole decade. Now, learn from your mistakes because there is a world, as scary as this is, where you trade Tarik Skubal, you get nothing back in return, and bam, you're doing a rebuild. There's also a world, like you just laid out, where you don't have to do that, and the players you get back in return are stars in this league. That's a possibility too. It's on Scott Harris to identify who those players are so that you don't trade him for absolutely
100%.
nothing like you did with Justin Verlander. You got Jake Rogers back in return.
And I do keep seeing people make the case that like they should try to trade Skubal now rather than, because you're getting, whoever trades him is getting him for an additional month, an additional 4 or 5 starts. I understand the thought process. If I'm the Tigers, though, I want Skubal to have like a really good start before I trade him. It has not been flowers and roses or whatever you call it.
I also want teams to get more and more like hungry to. Teams just get hungrier at the deadline.
You would just be kind of accepting your first real offer if you did that right now, and they can still play the card of like, oh, but we want to see what happens over the next month. Maybe we don't trade him, which I think is the right thing to say, by the way. I see Tigers fans getting upset about that.
These fans take every word that these GMs say and these coaches say for word.
The Tigers have to be like, oh, why would we trade Skubal? We still have a chance to get back in the wild card. We're going to see what happens. They should say that because then the teams are going to pay a little bit more, hopefully.
Correct. If you come out and say, yeah, we're trading Tarik Skubal, what is it like? What good does that do you for a team?
100%. So, yeah, I'm with you in the fact that this could be, and I understand it's a difficult thing to do when you're in the middle of a season and being like, yeah, but think about next season, because that does feel like something that, not a loser mentality, but you're just clawing at trying to find positive things out of it. But truly, this could be, like, the opportunity that's in front of you with it is amazing because of how Melton has pitched. Like, based off of last night and the way that he has exceeded throughout his entire season, the pitching core looks fun despite having no good prospects left pitching-wise for the Tigers. And just prospects in general are pretty dry outside of Max Clark at this point. So that has to be the play.
I'm with you.